Hey friends, how are you? Today is Wednesday and we are talking Wellness Wednesday with the topic of heart health. February is National Heart Health Month and I wanted to bring you some information today that has to do with heart health and the leading cause of death being heart disease. Currently, heart disease is the #1 killer for both men and women, taking over 600,000 lives per year. It's a number that's fixable. And when we advocate, when we learn and educate ourselves, and when we empower ourselves, that there are opportunities out there for us to minimize the risk for heart disease. I want to champion and encourage you to be on top of the opportunities for everything that we can do based off of the information that we have to reduce the risk for this being something that impacts us or those we love. I know you can turn on social media and you can not scroll for any amount of time and not see somebody that's being impacted by cancer, but heart disease is the leading cause of death by several 100,000 people per year, and we do hear a lot about cancer. I don't know that we hear enough about heart disease, and there certainly is a lot of things that we can do to minimize that risk. So first of all, I just want to say that food supply, our food actually kills more people than smoking or guns. What we have today for our Western diet is compromised. It's taking our ability away to be the best version of us. And especially in the arena of heart disease, I want to talk about how there are ways that we can mitigate that. So the first thing that we can do is we can control the amount of sugar that's regulating in our blood. When we have blood sugar imbalances, that creates inflammation for our body. You can do this primarily with a plant-based diet. A lot of people won't empower themselves for a plant-based diet. I'm one of those people. I'm actually an O blood type, so I prefer a little bit more on the red meat side of things, red meat and vegetables. But something that I can do that makes it easier for my body to have a healthy amount of sugar that's regulating in my blood is I use a very simple supplement. It comes in powder form. I add it to water. I drink it once per day. Our blood, the amount of sugar regulating in our blood is foundational for our blood pressure, our cholesterol, our lipids, and our inflammation levels in our body. Inflammation is what causes heart disease. So when you look at the cause of inflammation, you go back to what we're putting in our body, again, our food supply, and then the amount of sugar that's regulating in that blood. So it's an easy, simple solution. I eat very healthy. 95% of my refrigerator and pantry are organic and non-GMO ingredients. However, I do travel quite a bit. I am on the go quite a bit, and I don't always have control. So I use supplementation to mitigate the inflammation and to keep those, to keep my body in the best position possible. Not everybody believes in the power and the necessity for supplements. I believe in the spirit of waving your white flag and saying you're not getting everything that you need from your Western diet, and there are things that are coming in from our Western diet that are hurting us. So I believe in making sure that we release that spirit of pride and wave our white flag and use some very simple solutions to mitigate those things that happen because of our Western diet. Then we have a component of stress. Stress does hurt us. There's no doubt that we as a society are stressed. When 85% of our society is paycheck to paycheck, the average household credit card debt is $15,000. That stress and just life in general is creating a lot more stress for our bodies. We have a lot of imbalance from the signal from our HPA axis that goes from our gut to our brain that's lacking a good signal from that vagus nerve, and we end up with gut permeability. We end up with inflammation because our digestive system is leaking out into our body and setting us up for higher inflammation levels, even propensity for autoimmunity. So there's a lot of things that we can do to mitigate this as something that is taking lives from so many people in our society. The first thing that you can do that I do, again, that plant-based supplement powder, add it water, drink it once a day. It's the most simple, most effective way to do this. The second thing that you can do is you can put good bacteria back into your gut. You can do that via probiotics, and that is a very powerful way, and everybody needs a probiotic, not just when you use an antibiotic. Everybody, every single day, you are eating food that has antibiotics in it, and that is taking away your good intestinal balance, your good flora in your microbiome there. And the next thing that you can do to protect your heart health and your brain health are omega fatty acids. Omegas are very anti-inflammatory in nature. Specifically, omega-3 has been demonstrated to help with that gut permeability. And then my personal favorite with omega fatty acids, the one I take at bed. It's very calming to my body. It restores that 5 and 7 omega and helps give my body great restful sleep. That way I wake up the next day energized and ready to take on my day. The next thing that you can do are prebiotics. So my plant-based solution to balance my blood sugar also has a prebiotic in it. Prebiotics feed the good bacteria in your guts because we want that ratio of the good bacteria to be about 85%, and then that ratio for yeast, we want a healthy intestinal yeast balance at about 15%. Very powerful, very simple way to get those good guys in there, feed those good guys, balance that blood sugar, combat that inflammation. Very simple, effective opportunity for you to mitigate and protect. One less thing for you to worry about, take it off the table for you to worry about. Protecting your heart health and your brain health is not something that you can necessarily quantify. I love what I get from omega 5 and 7 is I know that it's impacting my body by the great quality of sleep and that combat of the stress cortisol in our bodies that occur every single day by what we see, by what we experience, what we hear, all those things that don't make sense. We get to mitigate that stress response in our body just while we are sleeping. Yes. We've talked about a lot of things here today. My mantra is just pick one or two things that you can do to move yourself in a healthier direction. What's the next right thing that you can do? Of all the things that I've talked about, probiotics, prebiotics, balancing your blood sugar, omega fatty acids, pick one or two things that you can incorporate as the next right thing and then move in the direction of progress. We're not looking for perfection. That's never going to be attainable. We're just looking for progress. So hopefully that helps you on heart health and our National Heart Health Month and everything that we can do to combat and mitigate that as an opportunity for taking more lives than it far more should as we celebrate National Heart Health Month.